Waking up today really was a mistake because as soon as I put my phone on, I just saw Tony Todd has passed away at 69 years old. This is, oh my God, 2024. Why? Why do you do this to us? Tony Todd, much like James Earl Jones, both actors who sadly passed away this year, they are two people who really everybody knew. Tony Todd has one of the most iconic voices of any actor that has ever existed, and the amount of characters he has played in so many different genres. He's brought joy to so many generations of people, and really he is one of the definitions of a horror icon. To say Tony Todd is a horror icon would be an understatement because Candyman is one of those characters who really would not be as iconic today if it wasn't for the actor playing him. And everything about him, his demeanor, his look, his voice mainly, it's all thanks to Tony Todd. And whether you've watched the movies or not, everybody has heard of Candyman. And Tony Todd is to Candyman what Robert Englund is to Freddy Krueger. Those characters and actors are synonymous with each other. And really, this is honestly his most famous role. And yeah, everyone just looks at him and goes, that's Candyman. And that is how you know that you've done a good job, is when people look at you and immediately know the character that you played. But of course, it's not just Candyman. In terms of horror, he is also, of course, the coroner, Mr. Bloodworth from the Final Destination franchise. He is in 4 of the 5 of them, and the one movie that he wasn't in, of course, that movie being rubbish, but it really just felt empty without him or his voice. And really, this franchise, of course, this is not what we should be talking about, but inevitably, there are already people asking about it, which, what the hell, guys? The movies just won't be the same without him. He had such a presence in these films, especially with the fact that he's only in maybe 1 or 2 scenes in a movie, and yet he's arguably the best character in the entire franchise. The way that Tony Todd plays him, he plays it in such a shady manner, and that really is what kind of sparked that whole theory of him being death. Everybody who watches these movies looks at Tony Todd's performance and they go, I think this guy might actually be death. He's sort of the Grim Reaper. And that's just some fantastic acting right there. Of course, those are his most iconic roles, really. Definitely Candyman. But of course, if you watch this channel, you most likely watch Transformers, and he was the Fallen in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Tony Todd has lent his voice to Transformers characters, I believe, twice. And while the character was, of course, utter garbage, everyone agreed, even back when I first watched the movie, that the voice of the Fallen was absolutely fantastic. Way before I even knew that it was Tony Todd. He has one of the best voices of a Transformers villain. And really, Tony Todd's delivery with every single line was just fantastic. It almost makes me wish that he had voiced Megatron at least once, because damn, his voice is just so iconic. And, again, his voice is the only good thing about The Fallen from Revenge of the Fallen. So, thank you, Tony Todd, for bringing at least one good thing to that movie. And the second Transformer that he voiced is, of course, Dreadwing from Transformers Prime. The best thing to ever come out of Transformers. But Dreadwing was a character who you really needed someone with a great voice to play, because he's a tragic character, he's a well-written character, and you need someone who can express their emotions through their voice and not just have a monotonous voice. And Tony Todd fit that perfectly. The way that he's also able to express the range that he has, because even though they are both Transformers, it's very different, the voice that he uses for Dreadwing and the one he uses for the Fallen. But once someone tells you it's Tony Todd, then you're like, and you cannot unhear it. 2024 continues to steal these amazing actors from us. We've lost Carl Weathers, James Earl Jones, Maggie Smith, Tony Todd, Shelley Duvall. It's just ridiculous. And this, if I'm being honest, is probably, oh my God, it was gut wrenching. I was left speechless. All we can do is really appreciate everything that Tony Todd has done, the iconic characters that he has played, that he's voiced, and just the amount of joy that he has brought to so many people of different ages. Rest in peace, Candyman.